Welcome to today's Q&A, and today we're talking to Dr. Hector Izquierdo from IVF Spain about egg donation. And welcome, Dr. Hector.
Thank you, Andrea, for this invitation again. As you know, I'm always pleased to be sitting here answering our patients some questions about hot topics are always on our minds.
And we've been sharing a lot recently about egg donation because it seems like more and more people are using this method to become parents. And we look at data from HFEA, it has increased so much over the years. From your experience of treating patients with several treatments, how common is it for people to need egg donation?
Very common, indeed. Thing is, and I think that's something we're not really aware of, is since our lifestyles and our priorities are changing a lot. If we compare our lifestyles with the lifestyle of our parents or grandparents, we'll see huge difference there. In average, people our age, because I think we're similar age, you're younger, perhaps similar. The age when we start to have children is much older than our parents or grandparents. And as we know, the fertility capacity of women starts increasing very rapidly after 35. We know already with 35-year-old, one for every 3 to 4 patients will have some issues trying to get pregnant. And every year that passes, a woman loses a lot of the capacity, fertility capacity. Mm-hmm. And above 40, we're speaking about losing the half of your fertility capacity per year, which is a huge thing. That brings us that more often, more time, it's getting more usual that young women find out that their ovarian reserve is not there anymore, or the egg quality is not good as it used to be or as it should be. And then comes the egg donation as our savior in the wish of forming a family.
So it's mostly because then women are starting to think about pregnancy later, is it?
We hope. If you try to think about it and go to the past and think what I was thinking when I was 25-year-old, in my perfect fertile age, I speak for myself, I wasn't even close about the thing being a parent. I was so focused on studying, learning. I was in the middle of my education as a gynecologist. At the meantime, I was making research. At the meantime, I was making my formation in reproductive medicine. There was no time for sleeping and eating. Yeah. That even just thinking about a family. That finding the right partner. I got married with 32. Then, if you see the timing, that people who are perhaps more focused on having a career or other things, delay this process a lot. And on top of that, finding the right person or discovering that I want to do it by myself takes a huge time. Then there we are.
And so is there a specific time, the right time to consider egg donation? Is it related to age or is it some tests that we need to do?
Yeah, that's another thing. I would love to say that women under 35 are safe and more likely to conceive with their own eggs. That's not a fact anymore. Well, as I always say, I cannot compare this clinic to the normal people because we are a reference center, and therefore people who come to me are already people that not succeeded somewhere else. But I do have a lot of patients 30 under that are here to egg donation due to premature ovarian failure and many other situations. Therefore, we used to say 30 is fine, 35, get busy with it. But with my experience here, I think I would like to have another focus on it. I would like to think that all the women 20 and around are aware of the situation and get busy with it. I would like to think that all gynecologists would take a woman with 25 to a pap smear test or to a very simple control, will empower them with the information about, hey, not to get worried about, but do you know how fertile you are? Do you know what situation you're at this moment? Have you thought about your ovarian reserve?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what would have been of these patients I've treated if someone has made them aware at age 20 of perhaps freezing eggs.
And that is such a common complaint we get from patients, because sometimes they go to their GPs and they say, you're young.
You're healthy,
Just
forget about it, you're crazy, you're way too far away from that. That's not needed. But I think the principle saying that's not bad. But I think a regular control about it wouldn't harm. Because if I think I have time, I look to things very differently. Because now, I used to think when I was 20, I would think half the time of a life for everything. And nowadays, I think we're definitely too many things. For things I think I want to do, and I don't want to move forward anymore because time is ticking and I'm not getting any younger. So I think key word should be awareness. Awareness and empowerment. I think regardless of the situation, women should be provided with information and options. But you have to decide with that. Perfectly fine. You don't need to do anything. But I want to think that it's going to come, it's going to be more popular, that we all doctor lose the shame about speaking about this and are able to tell the woman who's going to our consultation asking for birth control pill about, wait, very sure, very good, protect yourself, take care of yourself, don't get sexually transmitted diseases, take an anticonceptive pill, apply your life path, check up who you are, where you're at this moment, and how much do we have. Because egg donation with 20 to 30 years old, it's not needed if you have preserved it before. You can be your own donor in the future. If you're 20 and you think, okay, before I get there, it's going to be a whole time, then go there, freeze some eggs, and you keep them for the future. And freezing eggs at 20, 25, 30, it's a huge difference to doing it with 35, 38, 40. Therefore, that's the thing I would like to think about. I think egg donation, it's getting very popular. It's getting very, very needed. But then to overcome this, I would like to think about those two things: awareness, information, and empowering our young ladies there.
And part of that awareness and information, would you say that it's people maybe learning about their ovarian reserve and having the tests to check if they are okay in their late 20s to wait a bit longer, or if they should freeze?
I think ovarian reserve is the key, although it's not the only factor. I think it's a very important factor, and it's the key. We should provide the women with the possibility of checking a risk. And this word is very important to you, I know. The risk of needing a fertility treatment in the future. But I think in this specific topic, you're a good guidance. You know, you have some tools there.
Yes, yeah, we want people to have that awareness and that information, because what we found is that a lot of people don't know a lot about their bodies when they're trying, and it's not their fault. It's just that it's not part of our education in school, and then general practitioners, who are our first point of call, do not alert us to that. And I'm mindful that they also have lots of things that they need to know, so maybe they don't know the specifics about reproductive health. So there's so many things to take into consideration there.
Yes, that's the problem. It's lacking of information in every step of the process, from care providers to person to doctors to TV teachers. There's a whole chain of society, culture, and people pushing in the other direction. Because that's the thing. You constantly tell you should do it later. You shouldn't do like the others because you should prepare yourself. You should have a stable work. You should do a career. You should go for your dreams. You should travel. You should do so many things. But at the end, when you've done what you wanted to, perhaps this other thing that you might also want to do, but not yet, it's not going to be that fine. And this is what I think should be all spoken as well, should be loud, should be also taken care of.
And Dr. Hector, do you often find that couples who might have a low chance with their own eggs, even in those situations, they might want to go ahead with one cycle just to see, just to close that door before they consider egg donation?
For me, there is no categoric answers. I hate yes and no's.
Yeah.
I think from my point of view as a health care giver, provider, my work is not to decide, my work is to inform. As I always say, my patients, I'm going now to put on top of this table all our options. My cards will be displayed and decisions are yours to be made.
Absolutely.
Why? Times ago, you go to the doctor tells you, Andrea, you need this and this and this, we'll do it this and this and this, and see you in 10 days. At this moment, I think our most important role as healthcare providers is empowering and informating our patients. So when you come to me as a patient and you ask me, Hector, what do I need? I tell them, okay, this is you. You are polycystic ovary syndrome. This is your chances for pregnancy. You are low viral reserve. This is your chances for fertility. You are ovarian factor. This is your chances for fertility. You are a male factor, sperm quality, this translocation from genes demand. You are this as a couple. This is what we have. All chances in this line are this. All chances in this line are those. And all chances in this line are this. Be my guest, how can I help you? This is how I see it. In this perspective, I fully agree with you. Women should be able to decide what they want to try. And they need to set their own limits. I'm not the one telling someone what they need to do, yes or no. I'm here to provide them with tools so they can set out what they want. If a woman says, I want to make a cycle because I need to see that I tried perfectly. If another one comes to me and tells me, Hector, I'm very practical. I don't think I want to go with all these injections, which I'm afraid of. I want to have it clear. I want to get as pregnant as soon as possible, has as less transfers as possible, and I want to do it now. Egg donation is my goal. Please be my head. But then it's a decision that needs to come from them to me, not the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important because everyone will feel different about different things. I wanted to talk a bit about the process of egg donation. What does it look like? I know that you treat a lot of patients from the UK and from everywhere in Europe. How does it look like for someone who wants to start a process of egg donation with you?
So the most important thing I always want to speak from the very beginning, because what is egg donation is something the patients mostly know about, but the huge difference in between countries is the legal frame. So in Spain, keyword number one, anonymity. And that's the huge difference to whole European realm and USA and Canada and other countries where that's possible. Anonymity is, I think, something that is pretty much just in Spain. And the principle why does something like that work this way in Spain is because this is a whole different legal frame. Most of the countries where egg donation is allowed, surrogacy is also half permitted, permitted or a possibility to be spoken about. Not here. In Spain, a woman who's making a test of maternity about a baby and proves that this baby is genetically hers is allowed to claim custody of this child. Because surrogacy is not provided in Spain. Therefore, the only way to keep this for always this way, that mother is the mother, and with mother I refer that who was pregnant and gets birth, and the other is just a donor, is to stay in anonymity. Therefore, no one can claim custody over no one, or no child can ask maternity to no woman that just wanted to be a donor. Therefore, keyword, first thing. Second factor that's pretty much my major challenge for my patients is not being able of being part of the decision who's the donor. Why? Because anonymity forbids. I cannot show you any details of a donor if it must be anonymous.
Yeah.
And second thing, because I don't know if you know it, I'm also former in psychology and psychoanalysis and psychotherapy. I think it's a very important role as a doctor in reproductive medicine to be able to take care of the patients also emotionally, effectively. And I always wonder about this feature, the humankind. For us, it's very important that our genes are part of the process. But once they're not, we change very dramatically what we want from the donors. And then once you're asked, what do you want the donor to be? You start going away from your genes. We want them taller than we are, slender or a bit bigger than we are. We want them with different eye color. We want them with different hair color. We want them with different face features. Once you're allowed to think about something else, you start going away from yourself. And that makes me wonder that we humans are very different what we think we are, what we want to be, and what we want our child to be.
That's so interesting.
These three factors are so diametrical away from each other. Spanish law says, wait, stop. We don't want this to turn into a market. So you can go, have a catalog, and decide, I want Petra, Diane, Sylvia to be my donor, but you get it yourself. We need to find someone who looks and is like you. And this is very hard for women to understand. This to be supplied with myself is something they don't like a lot. Because in other countries, you're allowed to decide, but not here. And the third factor, which is also not very easy to understand most of the times, is what we do before to be the baby more likely genetically healthy. And this 100% security that you don't have in your couple, but you want in egg donation, it's something that doesn't exist. You know it, but most of the patients don't because they're not formed as nurses as you are, is that genetic failures may have three origins. First of them, genetic mom. Second of them, genetic dad. Third of them, the embryo itself. There are new mutations. The baby can think itself, I want to be different, and method about it. So 100% certainly it's known. Perfect genes mother, perfect genes father can also be not genetically healthy babies. This is very hard to understand. I will explain, okay, I will go to check the donor to make sure she will provide the best she can to have a healthy baby. But that doesn't assure a healthy baby. They say, why? Because that's life. That's nature. This is not a fabric. You don't go to Mercedes or Audi and say, I want this Audi. When I don't get it, I give it back. This is not the way it works. And this is the most challenging thing. These are the three factors that are very important here in Spain in order to egg donation. And the rest of it is fresh eggs, frozen eggs, fresh cycle, frozen cycle, and these more details, but they are not that important. The key word is this, what the legal frame is time obligates us to, because the rest we can change and discuss.
So it's anonymous and the team will choose someone that looks like me, right? Like the person. And so you mentioned frozen and fresh. Does that mean that you have both options that?
We don't, but that's also very complicated. Women want the cycles to switch them, but they want the best quality eggs. And that's something we are working on. We're getting more and more demanding with the egg quality ourselves. And on that way, we're letting the switches of the women to have the perfect moment for them on the side. In egg donation with fresh cycles, it's a lot of times where you must do the egg retrieval a couple of days before or a couple of days later, so it suits the time frame with the couple is available. And that's something I'm forbidden in my clinic now.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that anymore, because every time you do a cycle too early or you do a cycle too late, you're losing eggs, you're losing quality. And at the end, you're perhaps not allowing this one to have the best cycle. So I think it's my responsibility to set priorities, and the priority is the fresh egg. This is the number one priority. And what I'm not afraid anymore is to transfer frozen. I'd rather have a fresh cycle with fresh embryo produced, and then having to do a frozen transfer, which in this clinic is no problem. We have a successful defrozen process from above 99.9%. In this clinic, we have a year around 2,000 cycles, as many transfers, and the year where we have the most not surviving embryos from defrozen was 4.
Okay.
It means it's so relevant how many embryos do not survive. And the success rate in transfer from cryo embryos and fresh embryos is so similar that I need to focus my efforts in the most important things, the egg.
So you does the couple get all the eggs that the chosen donor produces in that cycle?
And fresh. And this is my guarantee, and this is what I want. The other things I'm not very flexible with. Then I want the guys to come here, let me sperm here, so I can fertilize if I need, when when the egg when the egg is available. And the transfer we'll discuss. And if they want to go for a fresh transfer, they need to commit for a very long time frame here. And if you want it, that's it. Because I'm not compromising the quality of the eggs just because one day later, one day before.
So they have that option of spending longer there,
Yeah.
of course, providing the sample and then doing a fresh transfer, or just giving you the sample, freezing all the embryos and then transferring as they fit.
So options are many, are always to be discussed in every particular case, but our priority is always fresh eggs, perfect cycles, and then that's what guarantees the best quality of the embryos at the end.
And I think that that's really important because it gives patients the flexibility to make it fit with their work schedules, their holidays, and everything else they have going on.
And the power to decide.
Absolutely. And so what is the success rate of egg donation versus my own eggs? Because I was looking at the graphs from HFEA and it's absolutely amazing.
With my own eggs, we need to say it suits to every particular case. Everyone is different. When you have a low ovarian reserve, but you're younger. When you have a low ovarian reserve, but you're older. It's a huge difference. Let's say a patient, let's make it clinical cases, okay? It's easier to understand this way. Patient, 42-year-old, low ovarian reserve, AMH in nanograms per milliliter, 0.5, 0.7. IVF cycle with genetical testing of the embryos, cumulative live birth rate, 2 to 3%. Same patient, different case, okay? She is 32 years old, has an AMH from the same IVF cycle, not needed from PGT, no genetical testing needed, she's 32. Success rates in pregnancy with IMH from 0.5, let's say 15-20%. Okay. Other case, 34-year-old woman, PCOS, that's the way she doesn't ovulate because of her PCOS. Guy with good seminal quality, IVF cycle without genital testing, transfer success rate 50 to 60% per transfer. Another case, let's say, she wonderful ovarian reserve, the sperm. We have, let's say, 2 millions, 20% motility, 2% normal forms. Also, oligo, terato, astenospermia. Bad semen. IVF cycle, we had good ovarian reserve. We produce 3 embryos. From these 3 embryos, every one of them have a success rate from 60 rough percent. Another case, let's mix them. He is 29, is a boy, a kid from a previous relationship, 17, 18, high school. And then he's now found a girl. As he was a young boy, he decided he wanted to make a vasectomy because he wanted to be sure that it's not ever going to happen again. This is a real case, no names. And she comes. She has a normal ovarian reserve for her age. She's 35. She has 1.5 nanograms per deciliter. Not bad. We make a cycle. We do a TISA. We extract the sperm safely from the testicles, and we produce 3 embryos from her. Each one 50% chance of pregnancy. And those are just 5 cases, and you see how different is everything.
Yeah.
Regarding egg donation, in average, our patients are average age 41, low ovarian reserve or postmenopausal or perimenopausal patients. Sperm quality very variable. Average chance of a pregnancy, speaking about live birth, 40 to 50% in the first transfer, and after 3 transfers, 80% live birth.
Yeah, so it has to do with your unique characteristics, isn't it? What your unique success rate would be, and how it compares to egg donation.
This is big numbers, but you see the difference. 80% live birth we don't get with any IVF cycle with Onyx. Very rare I have a patient on the 30 years out here sitting in front of me.
Yeah, for egg donation.
Or for her own eggs with good quality.
Yeah. And Spain is such a common destination for egg donation. And I think you've touched already on some of the main factors that make it such a common destination. But if you could just summarize it for people who are listening, why is it so attractive to go to Spain?
Many things. First of them, Spain is pioneer in reproductive medicine. We've been doing this for a very long time, mostly because that's a very interesting political feature. Spain was in a dictature for many years, and after the dictature was over and it comes into democracy, there was such a need of new things, such a need of advances, such a need of modernity, that our egg donation law exists since 1970s, which is way too back in the past. That's allowed us to be doing this for a long, long time, having a lot of experience. First thing. Second thing. In other countries, most in North, cycles are always very, very commonly frozen egg cycles. And that changes the success rates dramatically. Those that are not frozen are more likely from relatives of the patients. My sister, my cousin wants to give us some eggs, and my sister is 35. And here in Spain, till 30, the maximum, most 25-year-old makes a huge difference. And I think this is major the reasons why you should come to Spain. Other reasons that I take into account, well, you see it in there in the UK with your temperature. At this moment, we have today 22 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
And that's all around winter.
You're making us jealous.
That's the thing. That's another thing. You can come here, enjoy Alicante a lot, enjoy the Mediterranean, that as we all South countries, South European countries know, it heals. The Mediterranean heals. I believe it. I am here. And that's another thing. Be here with good weather, another flare, going away from home. That you leave all behind.
Yeah, live your day-to-day.
Not thinking about the family, not thinking about all this pressure. It's coming somewhere else. When I'm not Army Patty, Army Annie, who's dealing with this for a long time, you need to go to the work, people looking at you, how's it going? Is it going fine? You have your period, you move forward. Just leaving all that behind, coming to somewhere where you're no one. It's you, your couple, and no one else. And it allows us to disconnect. And as you know, psychology has a lot of things to do with all what we feel. There's a very popular clinical thing at this moment. It is psychoneuroendocrinology. We as human beings and humankind are very proud of how evolved we are, how we can control everything around us and ourselves. But at the end, we're animals. And there are many things that we cannot control. And how our body reacts to stress, and how that changes neurotransmitters and hormones and all states. It's a huge thing that we cannot change. I cannot decide not to be stressed. I cannot decide not to feel things. And the power of being able to disconnect is huge. And that's also what makes us very popular.
Wow. And Dr. Hector, with that beautiful image, I don't have more questions. But thank you so much for explaining it so well and in such a holistic approach to egg donation. Thank you so much for clarifying all our questions.
Thank you for your invitation. And as I always say, always happy to answer some questions. Every time a woman gets pregnant and fulfills their dream, we're making something good. I'm very happy that you are there, helping women to go there this way, which is very hard, I support. And if I can help someone to help someone else, I'll be glad to be there.